Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back to Sports Scene. And really, it is my honor, and I'm privileged to be sitting here with John Rositano, who announced earlier this year that he will be stepping away from the boys' head basketball job at Lorain High after doing a fabulous job for the past 8 years guiding the Titan program. So I'm really, number one, honored that he's sitting here and thrilled to just kind of look back at his time in Lorain and some of the unbelievable teams and moments and memories that I'm sure John has, but you have as well, with the incredible success that John had guiding the Titan program. So John, I consider you a great friend. You and I could sit here for hours and talk Lorain basketball and talk about some of the unbelievable moments that you had as a coach and that I was able to share in as a broadcaster. So first and foremost, I do want to say I'm really honored to sit here with you, and congratulations on what was a remarkable run.
Yeah, it was a great time, Tim. And me and my dad were talking yesterday morning. It goes so fast. These 8 years just flew by, and obviously when you're winning, it makes time go a little faster. But what a great time! And and you say honored. I was honored to be the head coach at Lorain High, and I felt fortunate. And we had a great time.
Now, the past 8 years was your second go-round, per se, here in the city of Lorain and with Lorain City Schools. You had left. You went over to Amherst, coached the girls program, had both of your daughters in the program, and then the opportunity arose to come back. And I don't know if you can remember verbatim what you were thinking at the time, but when the opportunity arose to come back to Lorain, what was your thought process?
Well, I mean, I left Lorain because there's no better thing for me than to be with your family and to get to coach your daughters. Right. So that opportunity came. That was a no-brainer. And then, they left, and I think I was there 1 or 2 more years, and the Lorain job opened up. And I said, that's the place that if I'm not going to be coaching my girls, I want to be back in Lorain because I taught here. I love Lorain. I'm from Lorain, and I love Lorain kids. And I was lucky enough to get the job again. And it's been a great time, like I said.
You have always said, whether it's with me during radio broadcasts or just interviews in general or just conversations, there's something unique, there's something special about Lorain kids, that you love working with Lorain kids, and sometimes you feel they get a bad rap. What is it about Lorain kids that really attracts you, John?
Tim, there's no phony in Lorain kids. They're real. They're real. They're genuine, and they're we always said, at least the guys I coached and I had in class, they're tough kids, they're hard-nosed, and they want to do well. And Lorain kids do get a bad rap, and it's unfortunate because every time something happens at the high school, at least, that's not good, it shows up in the front page of the paper. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of good things going on here, not only in basketball, but other sports and academics. And I was proud to teach here in Lorain for 30-something years, and just fortunate to be a part of it.
Now, it's well known, it's well documented, you're a demanding coach. You're a fair coach, and you're an outstanding coach, but you're also demanding. So that requires buy-in from kids. How do you get the kids to buy in to say, listen, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough, but there will be rewards at the end. How do you sell that, John?
That's a great question, Tim. I think that's the hardest thing to do in coaching. Everybody thinks the X and O's is the hardest thing coaching. Most coaches know the X and O's. I really believe that. Most coaches know pretty much what they're doing in terms of X and O's. And the hardest thing to do is get kids to buy in, to get them to do what you want them to do. In terms of roles, in terms of team chemistry, them are the hardest things to do. Get kids to play hard on a daily, everyday practice.
Everyday basis.
And that's the hardest thing to do. And fortunately, I think the kids respected not only what I did, but what the assistant coaches brought to the table. I think they felt a family atmosphere. I think they felt comfortable with what we did. And I think they always knew that we had their best interests at heart. And I think that's the thing that I think that myself, my father, the coaching staff brought to the table. And that's a great question. And we were able to do that.
You've often said that even though they may not readily admit it, kids want accountability. They want discipline.
No doubt
they
about
want
it.
that in their life. And
Yeah.
so for you and the great staffs that you had here at Lorain High, maybe that's part of the reason they bought in, because you were providing them something that perhaps they really needed.
They wanted, kids in general, they want discipline. Whether it's in basketball, whether it's in life, they want it, and we gave it to them. And our guys took to it. They accepted it, and I think they knew that was what was best for them. And we were demanding. We made sure that they were held accountable for everything they did, not only in the basketball court, but in the classroom, in the community. And I think all these things we just mentioned, that's how you build great basketball programs. I think that we, in the last 8 years, built a great basketball program.
Well, before that, you were part of a great basketball program as a player here in Lorain.
Yeah.
You went to a Final Four, and you were an assistant under the legendary
Two
Mitch
Final
Gillen.
Fours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And an assistant with Mitch for all those years. So when you come back now the second time for the latest 8-year run per se, what did it take, or what did you feel it would take to kind of wake this sleeping giant that you knew what it was capable of?
The first year back, and I vividly remember this, Tim, is me and Mitch Jr., we sat down, and during the summertime, long meetings, just what did we have to do to get these kids to buy in? And like we just talked about, they had to be held accountable. We did things that first year. I think we were 500 that first year, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that range. We lost games. I'm not saying we lost them on purpose, but we lost games knowing that it would help us down the road for our program. And we did things to make sure that if guys were a minute late, they weren't playing. If everything we did was not only for that year, but for years that were going to beyond that. So I think that was important that first year. We set the table for what was to come for years beyond.
Well, I think, again, we talked about kids needing structure and discipline, John. I think they also need to know no player or no game or moment is bigger than this program overall.
No, if you're not going to do it, the program is going to go on. We always said we want you, but we don't need you, because there's always somebody that can take your place. Maybe not as good, but they'll buy in, and in the long haul, it's better for the program.
I know it's been 8 years, but do you recall a moment or a game or just in the locker room with Mitch or somebody in the staff where you thought, we've turned the corner. We are now on our way.
Yeah, it's funny. It was a game we lost at Norwalk, and they had like a 60-something game home winning streak. Matter of fact, they won the state championship that year.
Okay.
That was our first year there, and we lost by a couple. It was supposedly a bad call, what everybody says. And after the game, we knew, just the looks on their faces, we knew we should have beat that team. And they won a state championship that year. And you could just tell these kids had bought into what we were doing defensively, moving the ball. And I think from that point forward, we had them. And it never stopped through the 8 years, I think, past that.
It's always funny. Coaches remember those moments where it turned.
Yeah,
you,
it turned.
You wait for that moment, or you wait for that game, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you can look back and say, there it was. That's
because
when it happened.
we talked about that after season. That was we felt that was a turning point to getting that thing turned around, and it was, and we did. Yeah.
I've learned over time and with experience, never ever ask a coach about a favorite team or a favorite player. And so I won't do that. I am not going to do that to you, because it's not fair, and I understand it's not fair to do that. But you mentioned that moment. Certainly the Final Four in 2018 is a moment that we all remember and we all cherish. But are there other moments or games that when you look back, there's something that just kind of automatically comes to your mind?
Oh, man, there's been so many, Tim.
Right.
I mean, we had so many great wins, so many great players. So many great kids that didn't actually show up in the scorebook that we had that contributed, not in terms of actual on-the-court winning, but just the things they did in practice, the things they did to help our program. There's been so many, Tim. I mean, obviously when we beat St. Ed's and St. John's in regional semis and finals, when nobody gave us a chance, there's been them too, and there's been so many great wins, through the years. So many great players. that if I start naming names, I'll forget somebody, and then it's not fair.
It's funny you're saying it, and I literally am getting goosebumps on my arm because I remember doing the pregame interview with you before the St. John's game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys are going to their place against a great team.
They played four games on that court, and we never even stepped on that court until pregame warm-up.
And I can still hear you saying in the pregame, Tim, we don't have to beat them 3 out of 5, 4 out of 7.
Just one game.
Just one game.
Yeah.
We can go up there and beat them. It was the most confident I heard you during a pregame interview. Like you just had a feeling that team was going to get it done.
For some reason, after we beat St. Ed's, and the next day of practice, and I'll never forget this, and we still talk about this, we always line the kids up before practice, and I knew who we were playing next. But I said, guys, who do we play Saturday? I said, you know what, it doesn't even matter. We're going to win. It doesn't matter. and the kids, there was no laughing, and they just knew they were going to find a way, figure out a way to win that game. And we got on the bus to Toledo. There was no doubt in our mind we were going to somehow win that game against a unbelievably talented St. John team, and that was their year.
It was.
Because if you remember, the year before they beat Elyria when they were all juniors, and they lost to Massillon Jackson, and then when we beat them was their year, and we came in there and knocked them off on their pretty much home court.
If you ask Brett Larrick, they only beat Elyria because they strangled a kid on the baseline, but that's a whole that's a whole other story.
Terrible, But that's how basketball goes. A break here, a little bit luck here, and you get to the Final Four.
Again, I'm not going to ask you about favorite players or best players, but I want to ask you, just in a general sense, do you look back at a player or two where when he came in as a freshman, you go, yeah, he's going to be all right, and then he just blossomed, where even above and beyond anything that you anticipated, that really grew with the program?
It's funny, we knew he was going to be good, but I didn't think he was going to be as Day Grant. I mean,
really?
Yes. I mean, you knew he was good as a freshman, but that kid, he worked so hard in the offseason. He made his game in the offseason. He just outworked everybody else. And, people don't know this, but in the fall and the spring, going into his junior year and senior year, I would pick him up every morning. It was a ritual. 10 to 6, I'd be at his doorstep. I'd have 2 donuts in hand. We'd go to the gym. He'd get the shooting gun out. He'd shoot for an hour or whatever he's going to work on that day, get in the shower, go to class, and get straight A's. And he did that. Every morning he did that. And he started doing that, and then what happened was other kids, they say, wait a minute, he's doing that, so maybe I should do it. Pretty soon we have 2 in the gym, now 3. Now we end up having 15, 20 kids in the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I hope you're getting paid mileage.
Yeah. But the point was, I knew he was going to be a really good player, but I thought he was the best player in Ohio his senior year. And he made himself into be a great, great player by his work ethic, which was unmatched.
That's a great story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I think a lot of people tend to believe that, once these guys graduate and move on, you're so focused on the current group that you kind of lose touch.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I know is special for you is that you remain in contact and you stay in touch with these guys, because it's not just about what they do at Lorain High, it's what they do in life. Yeah. And I'm sure there's great examples of that as well.
Yeah, to me, and with Matt Killen and Mitch Jr. when he was with us, our job was, you have to win games, obviously, that's important, but make sure you do the right thing by kids and make sure that we do everything we can to get them guys to the next level, whether it's basketball-wise, academics-wise. They have to, we always tell them, you got to get out of Lorain. You got to go to college, you got to go somewhere and do something. And we're fortunate that almost all the guys that we graduated in our program went to college or did something above and beyond just staying back here in Lorain.
Is that what you're most proud of?
Yeah, I mean, I think through the years, even when the old Admiral King, and then I was at Lorain, and obviously the Amherst, and here, almost everybody that I've coached has gone on to college or gone to the military or done something positive. And to me, that's what a coach, that's what his job is, to make sure when they leave high school, they have a chance to succeed after high school.
I know coaches don't like to ring their own bell and sing their own praises, but again, looking back, just sheer coaching-wise, John, Is there a team where you look and you go, that was my best coaching job?
Woo. Well, I mean, probably just because we went to state Final Four, and that year, I don't know if people out there know this, we lost our whole starting five from the year before because Day Grant and Pierre Lewis didn't start as sophomores. Right. They came off the bench. Yep. So we lost our whole starting five. So we came in the next year with a whole new five, and four of the top 11 kids on that team quit. For one kid, a job, another kid didn't like his role, this kid, we were down to 6 guys. And I hate to say this, but as kids quit, we got better because now the roles even got more defined. And we played less guys. Right. And when Devon Grant's not coming out of the game, or Pierre Lewis, and a guy like Weatherington, a Jaden Sledge, a Cam Davis, a Jordan Jackson, them 6 guys, they were just tremendous. And we caught fire. And they bought into what we were telling them they had to do to win games down, and it just, it was a tremendous year. Totally unexpected. I mean, it was.
Here is what I look back on. When I was with WEOL, we went over to Cleveland Heights. Mm-hmm. You lost that game. It was a good game. You lost the game. If somebody had told me walking out of that gym that night, well, they're not going to lose again until the Final Four.
And I'll give you another defining moment. In that game, Tim, if you remember, we're down 4 with 3 minutes to go. And we had 2 of our, I'm not going to say names, but 2 of our players, they're squabbling with each other. And they come on the bench and they're did the back and forth as both you guys are out. We yanked them both out, put 2 new guys in. It probably cost us a chance to win the game. But I tell you what, there was none of that anymore. And we won our last 6 regular season games.
Right.
And then we won, 4 or 5 whatever games in the tournament and lost in the Final Four game to Moeller. But yeah.
By the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the team that ran the table until they got beat in the regional by St. Ed's, the undefeated team, because I think that team really set the city on an emotional ride, more than the Final Four team. The Final Four team did once they got to tournament time.
That was improbable. And I don't think anybody but us thought we had a chance to get there when we got to tournament time. That team was, pretty much from the start of the year, that you could just see that team was. And I'll say this, Tim, and I don't say best teams were, but that was not our most talented team, that undefeated team. I really believe the team the next year was that when we lost to Lima in the regional semis by 2. Yep. And I think that undefeated team, they were so intimidating. We were winning 8-0, 10-0 before the ball was even tipped up. Because 6'6", 6'5", 6'5".
When Rashad and Nas came walking out,
they introduced Rashad and he gave his muscle like this. The other team was looking like that, and that was our most intimidating team. And that team was so unselfish, and it was a really good team. But I thought the next year's team was even more talented in terms of Davier, Andrews, and you had Bohannon a year older, Smothers, Kevin Davis, who I thought was very underrated as a point guard. Shane Smith. That crew was that was a really good team. And we lost to Lima by 2 or 3, who lost in the state finals on a tip-in shot at the buzzer, I believe.
Yep.
And that was a really good team.
I just remember fans snaking around this school.
As a matter of fact, a guy sitting here with us right now, I'm in school at 8 o'clock, and one of the kids comes and say, "Hey, Coach, there's fans outside waiting for tickets." At 8 o'clock in the morning, they're already waiting in line to buy tickets for a tournament game. That's how crazy it was. As a matter of fact, real quick here, Tim, we, after our practice that day, it was the day before, I can't remember who we were playing, and the line was all the way wrapped around, snaked around the school building. Right. I said, guys, these people out here, it is unbelievable. We're going to go out there and shake every one of them fans' hands for sitting out here waiting all day to buy a ticket. So we took the whole team out there, and the whole team, one by one, we made sure every fan that sat out there.
That's the first I've heard this.
Yes, and we shook every one of their hands, just thanking them for being a part of this and coming to watch us play. And I think the kids loved it. And then I think the fans really appreciated that we would take the time to come out there and do that.
Oh, it's a monumental gesture.
Yeah,
that's huge.
And it was it was a really, really neat time in Lorain basketball that year, just because they hadn't won in how many years, and all of a sudden we're undefeated, and here we go.
Right.
And you're right, Tim. That sets the stage for the next 7 years. Yep. That team,
no doubt.
Yeah.
So before we wrap things up, I certainly want you to talk about Matt Killian. He will now succeed you as the head coach at Lorain. He's been on your staff. He's a remarkable guy.
Yeah.
But for folks who are watching right now, don't know a lot about Matt, just talk about him. We will have him on a sports scene, but just your glowing recommendation.
Yeah.
You said it before he was even officially announced.
Well, I told him 4 years, Matt Killian, great guy. 4 years ago, I was listen, Matt, I'm retiring at the end of this season, which is, I'm retiring from teaching, and when I retire from teaching, I'm going to quit coaching here. I says, so at that time, I really believe you're the guy that should get this job, and so make sure you do everything the right way, leading up to that, and he did, and he has been tremendous. Matt's a very loyal guy, hardworking. And I didn't make the decision to hire him, but I tell you what, I like to think I had a hand in, when I talked to Brian Corey and other people, that he definitely deserved a job, and he'll do a great job. He's a caring guy. He's another guy from Lorain, understands the community. He'll do wonderful.
That's a glowing recommendation.
Yeah.
And before we let you go, you're not done with coaching, though. You're going back to Amherst with the girls. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do, Tim, but I got a couple calls from the Amherst people, and a couple things that made me take that job. I live in Amherst now, and it's almost like I wanted to give something back to Amherst again.
Right.
It's close to home. And I had other opportunities, but I had to have something where my father, who's very important to me, he had to be able to come watch practices and go to games. And I couldn't drive 45 minutes because my father couldn't do that. And so it had to be close to home for me, and there's nowhere closer to home than Amherst. And I met the administration over there, and we talked, and they sold me on it. And I've met the players, obviously, and they were a little bit taken aback, I think, at first, but I think they want to win, and I think they trust that what we're going to do is the right thing, and I'm excited. One thing about coaching, Tim, I'll say this is, the last couple of years walking in the classroom, I didn't have that same feeling that I had the previous. So I knew I was not basketball. When I walk in the gym, I mean, I just love it. And the day I walk in the gym and don't have that feeling, I'm just I'll walk and I won't come back. But I still have that fire, that passion to coaching. And to me, that's the key of coaching. It's not about the X and O's. It's about how passionate is that coach to come in the gym every day and give an honest, hard work type effort and do what's right for kids. And I think I've pretty much done that the last how many years.
So I'm going to share with you one of my favorite John Rositano stories. No, and I got hundreds of them. But this speaks to you as a coach. It speaks to you as a teacher. I remember we were doing a game at Lorain High, and which was the case a lot. You were winning big,
right?
And 3.5 minutes to go, you empty the bench and you put the guys in. And you coached that last 3.5 minutes as though your starting five were out there. And it was a 1-point game, and you came up on the post game. And I asked you, I said, John, you didn't just sit back and let the game play itself out. And you looked at me, John. I'll never forget it. I get goosebumps again. You said, Tim, I owe it to those kids just as much as I owe it to the starting five to teach them and coach them and let them know I care about them and their performance just as much as I care about those starters. And that spoke volumes to me about how you feel about the coaching profession and how you feel about kids. John, I'll never forget you saying that to
Tim,
me.
And I've had coaches that would look over at me and they'd give me like dirty looks, like, you're winning by 30 and you're still up there coaching like that? And I don't say anything, but in my mind, like you said, if them kids deserve the same hard coaching as the first 7, 8 players, if you don't do that, what you're telling them kids is they're not important. So I can sit back and just watch them. It's not right for the kids. Yep. And I mean, I've always done that. And if the other coaches don't, then that's on them. But
I don't know if we're under on time, but I could keep going. But I just want to tell you, it has been my honor and my privilege to work with you over the years.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What was your, and you called a lot of our games, what was your favorite moment calling a Lorain High basketball game? I'm just curious.
I'm getting goosebumps again.
Yeah.
You know, when you beat St. John's in that regional final. I mean, I just remember, you know, the late, great Troy DeFranco, our dear friend. Now I'm going to fill up. But we were both so emotional, and we were so happy for you and the city of Lorain. We were so happy, and Troy just couldn't stop grinning. You know, and you knew Troy very well. He was so happy for you.
Lorain by 1. Williams, left side. Now they get it to Moyer on the baseline. Back to Williams. Williams drives the lane. Shot, no. Rebound, loose. Lorain has it. Lorain has it and fouled in the backcourt with 4.2 to go. Devon Grant. Lorain up by 1. 4.2 to go. Christie runs it, throws it into Williams. Williams got it, and he threw it behind Christie. And the buzzer sounds. That's the ball game. That's the ball game. Lorain is Final Four bound. The ball got away in the backcourt. Unbelievable. The Titans are heading to Columbus. Can you believe it? They have come to Savage Hall. And they have knocked off Toledo St. John's 47-44. What an unbelievable story. And the Titans will play at least one more. They're heading to Columbus for a game on Friday against Cincinnati Moeller.
To go up there and beat those guys on their home floor. And I think I've shared this with you. Again, if we're over, Joe, I don't really care. I've shared this with you. That tape, that audio is how I got the Cavs job.
Right.
I shouldn't say how, but I had submitted some audio to them where if it was 2 Lorain County teams, I was right down the middle.
Right.
And they said to me, you know, you got a game where you're maybe leaning one way, which of course
there's the game.
I go, we were in Toledo. I wasn't rooting for Toledo.
Right.
That's the audio we want to hear.
Yeah.
I was leaning toward Lorain.
And that was a great call, by the way. That really was a great call. And
that John, and again, like you said, there's so many, but that's one that, you know, I'll never forget. I mean, to get Lorain back to the Final Four and, you know, to beat St. John's on their floor.
You know, Tim, when I real quick, after the game, you know, you shake hands with other players and coaches, and I came up to where you guys were up in the perch, and as I'm walking up there, it was the fans were literally had tears in their eyes. They were so happy.
Right.
It was a great feeling. I mean, like you said, the city of Lorain was so happy that they had a representative back in the Final Four, because basketball in Lorain is huge. And
Lorain High didn't go to the Final Four.
The city no
did.
doubt about it.
The city of
And
Lorain.
if you remember, when we went
to
to Columbus, out of the 12 games that was played in St. John Arena or Schottenstein Center, Lorain had the biggest following of any team of the 12 in that tournament, which was really neat. And by the way, we played a great game against Moeller.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact,
with the hand.
You can say that was the best game we played in the tournament. Just that Moeller they were just a different level. I mean, you had a guy he was a lottery pick in the NBA draft, 2 other big-time Division I players, and we're down by 4 with 2.5 minutes to go.
Right.
I mean,
a 3-ball rattled in and out.
I mean, so many great memories. I mean, you can talk forever, but it has, like you said, it's been an honor, but it really was for me, Tim, for, you know, all the years I've been here, coach and teach, and I had a great time. And to me, it wasn't even work. I mean, like teaching, or to me it was fun. I mean,
it's a passion.
I just enjoyed it.
Well, I consider you a dear friend, and again, you know, one of the best high school basketball coaches that I've ever had the chance to call and watch coach. And once that Cavs schedule comes out in August, I'm going to find some open dates in there to go watch the Amherst girls play this year.
But if I haven't scared them off by then.
I don't think you will.
No.
This has been an honor, and it's a friendship that I relish
Thank you.
and that I truly, truly treasure.
Appreciate it.
And again, to John Rositano, can't thank him enough for joining us here on Sports Scene, and certainly I know all of you thank him for the unbelievable moments and memories, and really the job he did in developing young men here in the city of Lorain. Just an incredible job, and he is to be congratulated for that. Boy, this has been a blast. I don't know how long it went, but we hope you enjoyed it. And until we talk again on Sports Scene, thanks to John, and thanks so much for watching. So long, everybody.